We'll be starting here our Hall of Fame ceremony momentarily. So please stay with us. I think you're going to enjoy it. I know you're going to enjoy it. Varsity basketball team for Fort Recovery coming out to take their seat and to observe this special occasion. Looks like maybe Connor Rammel's going to start things out for us. I don't know if he's going to...
he's bringing the podium out, ain't he?
I don't know if he's going to do the whole ceremony or not. We'll get going here. It's going to be kind of a long ceremony tonight, I'm guessing.
Well, there's a lot of players and a lot of cheerleaders.
Going to try to recognize everybody.
Assistant coaches are here. Some of the faculty's here.
Okay.
Check, check, check. All right. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Fort Recovery Athletic Boosters has elected 45 individuals into its Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame was established in honor of longtime Indian fan David Neff in 2007 to honor players, coaches, and teams who have excelled athletically while at Fort Recovery High School and beyond. Tonight we induct the first team into the Hall of Fame, the 1971 Ohio High School Athletic Association Boys Class A State Champions. Let's now welcome those who are part of this team and in some cases the representatives for them.
A standing ovation here for all the inductees who are walking in at this time onto the courts. Got the little kids holding up the banner there, Dave.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. There's Donnie Eichenauer.
Ed Snyder, I see Chuck Etzler.
Yeah,
we start with a quick recap of that season 51 years ago. The 1971 Indians were coached by Alan Souter. They completed the regular season with a record of 18 wins and 2 losses. They won the Mercer County League, going undefeated in the league play. The overall record ended in 26-2 after an 8 tournament wins on the way to the championship. The sectional was held at the Salina Fieldhouse, where the Indians defeated Marion Local and Ohio City. The district was also at the Salina Fieldhouse, and the tribe earned those victories over New Knoxville and St. Henry. The scene shifted to the University of Dayton Arena for the regional. The Fort edged Clinton Macy 57-55 in the semifinal. Sidney Lehman, who was ranked number 1 in the state at the time, was the opponent in the regional final. The Indians upset the Cavaliers 63-55. At the state tourney in St. John Arena, Fort Recovery triumphed over Convoy Crestview 55-42 in the semifinal and followed that with a 70-57 victory over Marion Pleasant to secure the school's first state tournament team title. The team was known for a number of things, probably most notable for their unselfishness and teamwork. They were willing to share the ball and exhibit great balance, with all the starters averaging in double figures. They played a quick-pace offense and gave their opponents fits. The 71 Indians were a veteran and experienced squad with 6 seniors and 6 underclassmen who blended very well as the season progressed. The strongest attribute of the team was the leadership and knowledge of coaches. Coaches Souter and Wilberding and Etzler were key to this team's success. They were great role models. The support people, including school administrators, cheerleaders, and managers, all were important contributors to the team's accomplishments. The 71 Indians were the first team in the area to win a state championship. They showed the way for what has since become a large number of state championship teams from our area. Now let's recognize those here tonight representing the 1971 state champions. We welcome some of the cheerleaders from the 71 team. Beth Rammel Nossinger. Currently lives here in Fort Recovery. She has a son and a daughter-in-law, Will and Jennifer Nossinger, and 2 grandchildren. Beth has fond memories of representing the school in 1971 and having the best seat in the house. Beth also remembers bringing the state trophy back to Fort Recovery and the great welcoming celebration. We also welcome Cindy Rammel Link. Cindy lives in Fort Recovery with her husband Carl. She has two children and 6 grandchildren. Cindy remembers the tourney run in '71 as a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Karen Smith Meiring. Karen Smith Meiring was a senior cheerleader in 1971. She and her husband Bob reside in Fort Recovery. They have 3 children, Jill, Kelly, and Alex, and 3 grandchildren. Karen has had a very successful career as a music educator. Karen remembers the enjoyment of cheering in front of such huge crowds at pep rallies and in the packed old gym. She also remembers seeing the long lines outside of the gym at away games. There never was an empty seat. Sharon Witter Walls, and she's unable to be here tonight, lives in Marysville, Ohio. She had a career as a registered nurse and a professional clinic counselor. She and her husband Jim have 3 children and 9 grandchildren. She recalls how determined the team was in 1971, how soft the floor was at the UD Arena, and how proud the town was of the team. Judy Timmerman lived in California, and she's being represented by Eileen Sass. Judy Timmerman lived in California before passing away in 2015. She's being represented today by Eileen Sass. Judy loved raising her children, but also she taught art in a co-op. Her children's names are Cecilia, Julian, and Andrew. Thanks, Eileen, for being here this evening. One of our managers from the 1971 team is with us here tonight, and that is Paul McDaniel. Paul is a retired deputy sheriff of Auglaize County. He resides in Buckland, Ohio. He has 3 sons, 2 grandchildren, and 2 step-grandchildren. Paul remembers standing on the floor at St. John Arena and thinking, wow, I will never have a feeling like this again. 2 of the coaches from the 71 team are here with us tonight. First, Larry Wilberding. Larry was the JV coach and assisted with varsity. He lives in Piqua, Ohio, and has been there since he left the fort. Coach Wilberding taught, coached, and was a principal during his career. He also worked for the Shelby County Board of Education as director of the Western Ohio Computer Organization Data Acquisition Site. That's quite the title. He also worked at Lehman Catholic High School in Sydney as a baseball coach and a development officer for close to 10 years. It's not surprising that Larry lists the regional final over Sydney Lehman as his favorite 71 memory. After all, each of his 3 children, Chris, Lisa, and Stephanie, later graduated from Lehman, and his wife, Donna, taught Spanish there for several years, and he served on their Board of Education. That victory in '71 has given him bragging rights in the Sydney and Piqua area for many years. Larry and his wife recently celebrated their 52nd anniversary this past August. They have 4 grandchildren. The other coach with us tonight is Chuck Etzler. Chuck was an assistant in 1971. His entire teaching career was spent here at Fort Recovery High School as a teacher, coach, and athletic director. He and his wife, Kathy, reside here in Fort Recovery. Their family includes Jenny and Court Fletterjohn, Mike and Nikki Etzler, and their 7 grandchildren. Coach Etzler remembers the satisfied and rewarded faces of the players and Coach Al after winning the state. He also remembers defeating Crestview in the state semifinal, as that is the high school he graduated from. Another highlight for him was the regional final victory over Lehman. Coach Etzler. And now we recognize the players who have been able to be with us here tonight. We would like to welcome back Mike Denney. Mike was a sophomore in 1971. One of his favorite memories is standing on the ladder and cutting down the nets at St. John Arena. Mike and his wife, Sue Ellen, live in Rochester, Indiana. They have 3 daughters, Nicole, Caitlin, and Kelsey, and a son, Justin. Mike Denney. Another sophomore on the varsity in 71 was Dick Wendell. Dick resides in Coldwater, Ohio. Dick has been a truck driver for 20 years and has been in management for 20 years as well. Dick especially remembers the ride back to the fort after winning the state title and coming home to a packed gym for the trophy presentation. He also has good memories of the reception at the American Legion. Dick Wendell. Kevin Dilworth was a sophomore in 1971. He was the starting guard for the Indians. Kevin passed away in 2017. He's being represented tonight by his son, Troy, who lives in Cincinnati. Kevin and his wife had one other son, Ross, who lives in Salina. Kevin had a very successful career as an accountant and realtor. Thanks, Troy, for being here this evening. Another underclassman on the team was Steve Greasup. Tonight, he's being represented by his sister, Deb Ehlers. Steve passed away a little over 2 years ago. After his basketball days and after graduating in 1973, Steve remained a resident of Fort Recovery in the home in which he grew up in just outside of town. Steve was part owner of J&M Manufacturing, where he worked as an outside operations manager. Thanks for representing Steve tonight, Deb. Don Eichenauer is with us tonight. Don was a senior in 1971. He has fond memories of the victories in Columbus and the celebrations after. Don and his wife Eileen reside in Coldwater, Ohio. They have a daughter, Rachel, and a son-in-law, Austin Kraft. Don has enjoyed a successful career as a business manager and car salesman. Don Eichenauer. Also with us tonight is John Judy, representing Don Judy. Don was a frontline starter for the Indians in 1971. Don passed away in 2007. He lived in Cincinnati, where he was a plastic surgeon. Don had 3 children, John and Tyler Judy and Caitlin Falk, and 6 grandchildren. His sister and brother-in-law, Charlene and Jim Westgertis, reside here in Fort Recovery. Don's son, John, has pleasant memories of watching the video of the state championship game with his dad. Don Judy. Ed Snyder. Ed Snyder was one of the starting guards for the 71 Indians. He is currently living in Sydney, Ohio with his wife Laura and their daughter Carolyn. They have 2 other kids and their spouses, Greg and Megan Snyder and Joanna and Derek Hyatt. Ed and Laura enjoy watching their 8 grandchildren. Ed's favorite memories include the friendships made with teammates, the great fan support, and the leadership of Coach Souter. Ed had a 40+ year career in education before retiring, including 15 years stint as principal right here at Fort Recovery High School. Ed Snyder. John Wendell. John Wendell was an inside starter for the 1971 Indians. John resides in Michigan City, Indiana. He has been married to Laura for 46 years, and they have 2 children, Joel and Jenna. John is a certified public accountant, and he became chief financial officer for several companies in the medical, manufacturing, and communication industries. John has many great memories of Coach Souter and his teammates. He also recalls great memories of the Indian fans, the pep rallies, the celebrations and parades, and the cheers when the team ran out onto the floor. He also remembers the fan interaction during the season, which allowed him to grow confidence in himself and prepare for a successful adult life. John Wendell. Ron May was a starting forward in 71. Ron May. He and his wife, Pat, reside here in Fort Recovery. They have 3 children, Corey, Casey, and Clark, and 8 grandchildren. Ron has made a career in plumbing and heating. Ron fondly remembers having Coach Souter as his coach. He also enjoyed the great team and the friendships that were made. Ron has wonderful memories of the celebrations, of the great fan support, and for being the first team in the county to win state. Ron May. Other members of the 1971 Indians who are not in attendance tonight are manager Fred Pax and players Steve Reichert, Reinhardt, and Mike Wilson. And other members of the 71 team have passed away. We remember Dan Pax, who was a senior manager, and player Fred Eisenbrey, who was a junior in 1971. Both were a huge part of the 71 team. We also lost Coach Souter, who was so instrumental in the success of his team and these players, as well as many others. Coach passed away last January. Coach Souter is being represented by his son, Tom Souter. Al's wife was Joyce. Together they had 2 sons, Tom and Ron, and 2 daughters, Sue and Ellen. Coach Souter loved his team and all his teams. As was quoted in his obituary, it was a joy to coach players, many of whom became doctors, bankers, teachers, lawyers, and good citizens in their community. We thank you, Coach, for what you did for this team and this community. Coach Al Souter. We know many of you in the stands were a part of the following back in 1971. Some of you may have dribbled basketballs to some of the games. A lot of you stood in those long lines so you could get tickets to see the Indians play. Many can still remember the celebration parades and the welcoming the team back as they triumphantly returned to the fort. It was a magical tournament run, and in 1971, state champs are certainly worth of being inducted into the Hall of Fame here tonight. The display honoring the 1971 team and the past inductees to the Hall of Fame is in the hallway in the main lobby. There will be a reception following tonight's varsity game at the Fort Recovery KFC Hall here in town. Everyone is invited. On behalf of the Fort Recovery Athletic Boosters, we thank you for helping us honor the great team, the 1971 OHSAA Boys Basketball State Champions.
And that does conclude our ceremony. Connor Rammel has been your MC here for the ceremony. And so obviously we're going to be a little late starting the basketball game tonight because of the length of this, about 30 minutes actually, this special ceremony honoring the 1971 Boys State Championship basketball team for Fort Recovery High School.